Hey, this is Eric from Catching Light.
Hey, this is Hemp.
Hey, this is Glenn.
Hi, I'm Steve-O.
Hey, this is Drew Hines with Hindsight Imagery.
This is Matt Callahan at Digimatty Photographic Services.
Hey, this is Jason, and welcome to Tales from the Pit. Hello and welcome to Tales from the Pit, the behind-the-lens access for concerts and photography. Today is our part 2 with Five Finger Death Punch drummer Charlie Engen. We hope you enjoy the episode. When it came to F8, was that already started before you joined the band, or were you in the full process of writing?
It was started. Yeah, it was started in ways. It was. Yeah, ideas thrown around on that tour. Me and Jason jammed in his room once in a while. Not much, but we do just throw down random jams, and then whatever came out, he might have chopped something up or whatever. But then the majority of it started in after that first tour I did, so the spring, and I would go down with Zoltan and same sort of a thing, jam on an electric kit, and we would just record a bunch of chunks, and then he would take it and they would chop it up and whatever else. So I was a part of, some of those chunks. I mean, I watched a lot of the songs on there come to fruition in its own way. Or I knew the chunks before they became the song. But yeah, I didn't get, a ton of input per se on it, other than the riffs I wrote with Zoltan primarily. And and you can kind of tell, even if you don't know which ones me and him did together, whether that be a chunk he had already kind of had in his head or however they all came. You can tell which ones are ours a little bit more, for sure, which is cool because, it's cool to hear the elements coming. I don't know if coming back is even the right word, but you can hear some heavier elements, I'll put it that way, that I think might start to take hold of. This is me speaking. I have no idea if they will. For all I know, we're going to write a ballad album next. I feel like they're starting to go in that direction. A little more techie rhythmically is a good way to put it from my perspective. Yep. I got to have some fun with that, and that's why I'm really looking forward to the next one too, because now it's I'll know it from the inception, rather than feeling, even if I wasn't late to the party, I felt a little late to the party. I also didn't want to step on toes. I got a bug flying around, sorry. I didn't want to step on toes and just be like, oh, well, what we should try is this, check this out, so I just shut up, and if they wanted something from me, I gave it to them in the end of story type thing. But it was fun though.
The cool thing about the band is you guys have you just had a huge #1 hit, and it's not a heavy Death Punch song. It's a very laid back but very appropriate timing of a song too.
No kidding. Yeah, Ivan was forward thinking on that one, even if he didn't know it. Because that was done obviously way before, and that one I knew was going to be big. I didn't know it would necessarily be this big as far as how many weeks I've seen it still at #1.
Right.
But I knew when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, this one's probably going to hang out there just because it's like a carefree vibe. So even if you don't like Death Punch or you like Death Punch or whatever you like I feel like that could be on our local pop station and people would be okay with it, besides maybe some swear words, which they probably don't even care about that anymore on those pop stations.
Yeah. And the song's a little bit off today. And you guys did a cool video, but I think it's just Ivan in the video, right?
Ivan, Chris, and Zoltan. I couldn't make it. Yeah, that was when there was no flying or anything. Yeah. So I'm the little crossed out character in the beginning or whatever, because I couldn't make it down there. But I actually, when he sent it to me, Zoltan sent it to me obviously way before it was released, and was like, hey, check it out. I feel like he was almost saying hey, sucks you're not in it, but here it is. And I thought it was so fitting though, because that song is so Ivan's song anyways. You might as well have some random activity going on in the background with Chris and Zoe playing chess, and then have it just be focused on Ivan, who happens to be able to be in Las Vegas with nobody in it, which is a very rare occurrence, and that'll feel a little bit off in Vegas, So I think it worked out pretty well. It's honestly kind of cool I'm not in it. It's one that it's perfect that I'm not in it type of an effect. It didn't matter that I'm not in it. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And you guys, I think I saw that you guys are working on another video right now.
Yeah, we just finished
or something.
Yeah, we just finished that. So look for that one to be coming out probably in a month or so, I would think. It's supposed to come out pretty quick. So that's going to be a fun one. That's like I'm really looking forward to this
Can
one.
you say what song it is or no?
I don't know. I think they've given enough hints, so I won't be the one to break the news.
Okay, all right.
Because I don't really know what they've said.
Yeah.
So if people look into it hard enough, they'll probably figure it out.
Yeah, little, maybe some Easter eggs there. You can go.
There's Easter eggs out there, I know for a fact. Yeah, so I won't be the one to spoil it just in case. I don't want to get yelled at.
Hey,
guys
just
wanna
to rewind just 1 second.
Yeah.
Where did you get your education? You said you had your master's in music?
Yeah, McNally Smith College of Music. It's out of St. Paul. It's just closed down here
Minnesota,
recently. Yeah. It was kind of the Berkeley of the Midwest, essentially.
I was going to say Berkeley because Hem's son went to Berkeley or is going to Berkeley, and then my daughter actually went to Berkeley as well.
Yeah. This was like we used the same sort of Berkeley style format. It's like what do they call it? Like I forget. There's a term for it where you basically all the theory and everything you learn is based on a mixture of like a contemporary music school. That was the word I was looking for. Where it's like we use a lot of pop structures, but we also study the like classical, the whole classical styles leading up to it. So it was good. As a human, it was great. Yeah.
Nice.
Now, what's your day like on tour?
Generally speaking, arriving at a venue in the morning, probably pretty early. We either get dropped off at a hotel or we stay in the bus if we're at the venue, and then you can just sleep in. And then we generally, like the crew does our sound check most of the time, and we might use it for practice. Like we'll go up and take over sound check and just practice, and they'll use our practice as sound check. Or we don't, and then we have our crew do it. And then maybe some press in the afternoon, like I don't usually have to do as much, obviously, but they might have to do some radio interviews or something, and so I might join them or do something. Then there's usually like our meet and greet, and then just hang out till showtime. So a lot of my personal day is generally like, wake up, go eat, and then do whatever I got to do, and then get ready, like shower or whatever, and then do the meet and greet and stuff, and then hang out, watch the other bands for a few minutes here and there, and then get up and play, and then we usually eat a meal after the show and then just rip right out of there by 2 or whatever.
What's it like just being on the road all the time now?
I was just going to say, it must have been an adaptation for you to get back on a bus or on a bus.
Yeah, I would say so, especially being gone for long periods of time. And like the beauty is you're treated so well that it's not as hard on you as like when I like the Scale to Summit style touring where I have no help. It's just me. And I had a drum tech on the tour, but I still helped carry my drums and do all of that. And like now my drums don't even get torn down. They roll onto a semi and they roll right off. So it's like, there's massive differences in the amount of like energy I have to like give out. But I think being gone a lot is always going to be the trickiest part, not only of like homesickness style vibes, which come and go throughout the tour. You'll feel them the first day, you'll feel them the last day, you won't feel them in the middle. You don't know where they're going to hit you, but it's more the effect of like feeling like you're in control of nothing other than that day. Like, all right, I can control my drumming, but if something happens at home, I can't do anything about it. So that's something to get used to. I feel like for me, because I'm kind of a control freak in that way of like every day I wake up and there's all my stuff and there's my car, or I got to do this today. So I'd say that was the only like tricky part, was kind of learning to let go a little bit and be like, all right, I'm here, I got a job to do and let's do it. So I've gotten a lot better with it.
Did you have to get used to sleeping on a bus?
Not too bad. That came back naturally. The first tour I ever did in my life on a bus, I did. Yeah. I like thought every turn that was taken, I was going to die. And my body like would wake up, like your body just thinks like, oh, this isn't natural. Wake up. Yeah. Now I sleep better on a bus than I do at home.
That's funny. Somebody else had said the same thing. Who was that?
I think it was
up like I think it was Barry.
Barry did.
I don't remember.
Too.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a common thing, probably because that comfort of the movement or something, and you know you're going to your next destination whether you want to or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty well exhausted anyway, so sleep is what you need.
There's that too, for sure. So yeah, all those little things add up to where you actually don't mind, like, you know, being on the road. It's not even the road part that's the issue. It's the like I say, the control factor of home life or something. So yeah, I enjoy the bus rides. I miss it. Some nights I wake up and I'm just like, oh man, I wish I could take a little trip somewhere tonight. Start playing.
Yeah, just have your girlfriend or wife, whatever, drive you around in the back seat.
Yeah, just fake it. Rent a tour bus for the day and just blow a bunch of money for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, right. So going back to drum stuff, in my band, we play with a click track for certain backing tracks. Are you doing click tracks at all?
For most of the tunes, there's like 3 tunes we don't.
Yeah.
So yep, I play to a click at all times. So I get like a count off in my ears, and I count in every tune except for Bad Company, which is no click.
Yeah.
A few of the tunes, the click drops out like halfway through or something because we do some weird rendition or something, or crowd interaction, I should say, or a drum solo a few times. But then sometimes I'll throw the click in with that. But I'm a click drummer though, for sure. Like
totally.
It gives me home space because then my emotions can't take over so much. Like if I played off of my emotion, some nights it'd be 180, some it'd be 160. You know, I'd be all over the place on a few of the tunes. Although I've checked myself on that a few times these songs are so ingrained in me now. I'd start playing and then like tap my metronome of like what I feel like I'm playing or what I am playing at and see how close it is to the real tune. And I'm actually pretty damn close now these days. So that means they're sinking in, you know?
Yeah.
But just a few tunes with no click.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I used to sing in a Def Leppard tribute, and we had to have clicks, obviously, for a lot of their,
the
rocket songs and stuff like I'll totally do that stuff. And we would bring drummers in. They'd be like, "Yeah, we're the baddest drummer around." And as soon as you put that click on, they were off. I was like, "Dude, come on, man! You're supposed to be a kick-ass drummer. Why can't you do a click?"
It's a learned ability for sure. And it freaks people out who aren't used to it. They start to it takes them out of their body. And that's why I always liken the idea or whatever. I always think back to a few of my teachers would say to me when I was in music college was, let the click play you, don't play to the click.
Right.
And that's the perfect way to put it. You're not playing target practice with each beat, like as if, okay, bam, I got that one, bam, I got that one. Because now every gap is different, You essentially let it flow. So there's times where I'm playing live, I can feel myself on the back side of the click, and it's sometimes it feels good, so I just leave it there because guess what? Nobody can do anything about it. And so I'll stay on the back side for a while, and then I'll come up to the front edge on certain parts so I can kind of ebb and flow everything better. And as I've watched live performances on Instagram of people's cell phones, I'll judge it. Okay, I know that night I was on I'll watch it that night, so I know. I'll be like, I know I was on the backside of that edge purposely, and I like the way that sounds. I'm going to remember that for next time. And so I learned to play the click within the click, essentially, or play my body within the click. And some guys, if you haven't done a lot of it, the pressure of being in front of a lot of people too alone will freak you out to a survival mechanism of don't screw it up, and so you'll get real jumpy anyways. And so there's a few elements that come into play with that old click game. And I won't lie, there's been a couple times the click catches me off guard because I'm looking around, enjoying life. And all of a sudden I'll hear, I can think of one example in particular. It was the encore and I'm getting ready for it. And I'm just happy to be there. And sometimes I have different counts, so you'll hear a lady's voice go 1, 2, 3, 4. Generally, it gives me the first 4, and I count the band in off the 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
And I'll never forget the one time it made me panic. There's one that goes 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4, 3, 2, 1 got me, and I counted them in on the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, shoot.
But I stopped, so I hit it 3 times, and then I stopped, and then I heard him come in, and I'm like, oh shit! But we kept it together. We didn't screw anything up because the band, I played off of my mistake, and so the band went in as if I was right, and then I just kept her going, and it was fine. But there's these little moments where you're there's no room for error. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's. I'll never make that mistake again, though. I'll promise you that, because that was I was so scared. I'm oh, that could have been so bad.
The average Joe's never going to know about that, though. I mean, I would never pick up on something like that.
Nope, you wouldn't even know, especially when it's the right song. It'd be like maybe a certain song, you'd hear it and you'd be like, what the hell just happened? Like the guy started on that one, you would have never picked it up. But yeah, it could be bad. It's just a matter of how you smile through it. That's an old saying too. Like, you might make a mistake, but don't show the mistake. And there's something to be said about that.
Yeah,
That's
the
like
average person would
photography.
never
You can
know.
save a bad photograph in post, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Not when it's, this looks like shit, but
Yeah.
in post, I can save this to look better in a black and white, let's just say.
Yeah, right.
So I get the, I
It's
get
a
it.
similar effect, you know.
Yeah.
And when you're live at the show and everything, unless it's a complete train wreck, you wouldn't care if there's like a weird discrepancy in like, oh, that guitar player didn't start and that one did. You would just go right along with it anyways. It's train wreck is another thing, but I don't think, like, I've never experienced a real train wreck that was bad, like where we had to stop and start over. Like, well, it's all done, you know. That's never happened to me, thank God.
No, I've been there many times. Have to shut it off and all right, let's just start over again, or just shut it off and play without it or something like that.
Yeah, you could do that for sure. Yeah, we've done that before actually on tunes where I made the guy shut the click off because I could feel people starting to pull too much.
Yeah.
So I would just take over, and rather than me trying to keep up to a click, or really what it is I can't drown them out, and I can't so I have these two fighting forces, and they're not even hearing what I'm hearing. So I just have to be like, like, cut it, because I got a guy who runs that for me.
Yep.
And then I'll just take over and play it. I've done that a few times, and I don't even think they ever knew it happened.
That's,
Do you
pretty
prefer
technical? I didn't realize it was that technical.
Do you prefer
Yeah.
clicking? Do you prefer clicking one ear or both ears?
Both ears.
Do you?
I my mix is pretty much click, a little bit of bass for the low end, lead guitar, a little bit of vocals, and I mean then rhythm guitars obviously, but yeah,
Sure.
guitar I should have said.
Yeah.
So I keep it pretty. I let the click drive me mostly. I keep that the loudest for sure.
Nice.
And then everything else is just kind of the painting on the canvas, and I can do my thing, and people will follow me, you know.
Yep. Yep. So, Temp, you got a question?
Yeah, well, a couple of them. One, who's your favorite band to tour with?
Say it one more time.
Who's your favorite band to tour with?
Oh, well, so far, Megadeth was cool just because that was surreal to have Megadeth open for you. And the crew was awesome. I remember I loved everybody in the crew, and the band for that matter. Bad Wolves, because I've toured with them so much, and I'm good, close friends with all of them now.
Yeah.
Breaking Ben, I'm close with those guys. Love touring with 3 Days Grace, too. I hung out with those guys every night pretty much. So, yeah, really every band I've toured with has been super cool, and we all kind of became friends, like to varying degrees. But, yeah, those ones stand out, definitely.
Now, looking at I was going through your Facebook photos because we're all photo geeks anyways.
Yeah.
Some of the pictures, I'm sorry, but I want to get behind you someday and take pictures. Those are the ones we dream of.
Best seat in the
Yeah,
house.
those are fun ones. Those are
my
usually my
God.
favorite.
Just all of those with the crowd out front and stuff. What's it
Yeah.
like to have the photographer right behind you all the time now?
Yeah, it's funny. It's actually odd how much I don't even notice him being there. But yeah, it's nice. And now I've started, like, each tour I remember that he's there, and I'll try to like look back and get some of those where it's me looking, smiling, where it's almost like he's taking a picture of me for me.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was looking through and was like, oh, he's hamming it up there. That's cool.
Yeah, the last few times, the last few tours, I've gotten a few of those for myself, which I really like. With it, like, I mean, for obvious reasons, the giant crowd and just like the kit. You can finally see the kit, because so many of the front ones I prefer as far as so forget the behind the head shot one, but just naturally when I have photographers taking pictures of me, it's from the sides. You know what I mean? Which are totally cool. But I don't get a ton from the front. So I like the front ones because it actually shows the playing vibe, but you can't really see the kit that well. It's almost like me as a silhouette with the kit as a silhouette. And then the fire or the lights or whatever is kind of like more awe-inspiring. But some of those behind ones, then you get the kit effect where you get to see the intricacies of the setup and all of that. So it's fun as a drummer too.
Well,
got
when
some
you're
heavy
describing
pyro
it,
going on.
I was looking at one of the pictures and I could actually follow it. I know nothing about drumming. I just love it. But yeah, I could see where you're talking about all the symbols and the.
Yeah,
That's one thing I picked up on too when I was watching YouTube last night. You ton of symbols. I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm. I've always been a big symbol guy for some reason.
That's cool.
I like the different sound effects.
How's the pyro on there? Because you got tons of pyro. Is it like super hot up there?
It's hot, yeah, especially certain spots. You'd be surprised at how much you don't notice it when it's kind of happening, but if you consciously think about how hot it is, then you're like, oh, damn, that's pretty hot.
Now you know where you're losing all your weight.
Yeah, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sweating all night because of that.
Absolutely.
And some clubs, it's way closer to me, so like clubs, I should say arenas, because that's what they are, it's a spread out stage, but yet sometimes the setup where they need to be close, and I've learned the hard way when they go off some of those, especially at the end where he empties the containers or canisters, I don't know what they are, you feel the droplets come on you. So like it's like a gassy, I don't even know what it is, a butane, or I have no idea, but it burns hot and it sprays everywhere. And yeah, when he empties those out in the bleeding, I've had it a few times where I'll be like looking up, just zoning out, doing my thing, and it'll hit me in the eye or something, and I'm like, okay, you gotta stare down. And it leaves my kit covered in some funny stuff, generally, and yeah, you feel it.
So talking photography stuff. So you sort of talked about it briefly, but when you joined the band, you probably started seeing a lot of yourself, like you said. Mm-hmm. From an artist perspective, what do you wish photographers would do more of or do less of when it comes to your stuff?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, I would say one thing that always stands out to me, and this is subjective because some people like the funny face pictures that get released, but you know how at most venues, the photographer's only up there for 3 tunes, and they can only take so many photos, but on top of that, they'll only release so many, you know what I mean? So essentially it's for the venue, they release 1 or 2 tops of each guy. And the one thing would be to be like conscious of like, if that was you in the picture, do you really want this like contorted, goofy face? Like there's got to be one that you don't look completely stupid in. Now, if it's super funny, I get releasing one of those. And then maybe throw like a nice one in just to be nice to the guy. So when he sees them, he can be like, well, that's funny because now I got a funny photo, but I also got me looking normal too. So that's cool.
I think Barry said the same exact thing.
Oh, did he?
Yep. I believe
well, that's because drummers look so stupid 90% of the time when they're playing, you know?
Well, we just talked with Ryan Roxy too from Alice Cooper, and he's like, I don't want any photos with guitar face. That's all guitarists do. Guitarists are always having the guitar face doing solos and stuff.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, for solos especially. At least like the rhythm faces look pretty cool, and it's just you making an angry little jamming face. Yeah. But yeah, you get those like drummer face syndrome is what we drummers call it, and it's just like, did you really have to release that one of all the ones, you know? So that'd be the one thing, is to just be like, pretend it's you, you know?
Yeah.
That's good to keep in mind though. I wouldn't normally think on those terms, you know.
Is it? I will say drummers are the challenge because you're obviously behind the kit, far away.
That part's
depending on where we are shooting. I mean, literally, I got all these great shots of Jason Hook because I was sort of focused on Hook.
Yeah, you're right there in front too. So
and I'm trying to get shots of you, but I'm focusing on the cymbal instead on Axel.
I know that's
you only get like a couple.
It's a good point, and that's the thing, is usually there's not too many of the drummer because he's kind of far away, and there's so much stuff in the way. Like just my cymbal swinging will cause your camera to focus. All of a sudden, it'll just be gone. You know. Yep. So there's those elements involved that do make it tough for the to get ones of the drummer. But
for sure.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? It's funny all around, anyways.
Can you stand up for the first 3 songs for us? Just so we can get
exactly. Just like extra lean up and in, so that like my face is kind of right more in the forefront by the cymbals.
Well, we're not allowed on stage either. So that's
no.
Yeah, I'll say, what's his name? Wombat got some amazing shots of that Europe tour.
Yeah, he did. He's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, Wombat's a good guy. I know him well now after I think he's done the last 2 tours, maybe 3. And we have a good time together, and he takes amazing photos, and he's good about being conscious of the art elements and then like the focal subject matter too. So he's good about like, hey, that picture would have been crappy if you weren't on with it. So yeah, he's great to have around.
Were you able to coordinate with him? Say, all right, I'm going to do this at this time or something like that?
No, but he was good about starting to learn the consistencies, and he would tell me, like, then we would kind of coordinate of like, yeah, if I come around like at that thing, you know, maybe look at me more, or like before that one song or whatever, when I'm always on your left, maybe give me some, you know, and then also now that we can laugh it up on stage a little bit, as far as like it's stress-free 20 shows in, you know, we'll start wasting time like taking funny pictures and just see what comes out of it. So there's some that we never show people that are pretty funny, you know.
Those are your personal private photos.
Yeah, exactly. Like people almost think they're like corny because they think we're hamming it up for the camera, but it's just me messing with them, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome.
What other bands do you like listening to?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm all over the place a little bit, but I really like, generally speaking, I love like Leprous, Haken or Haken, I think you pronounce it. They're luckily like good friends of mine now, kind of too, through the music industry. But those are two of my favorite bands. And then I love like newer Soil work from the last like 4 albums. Those are kind of some go-tos. Symphony X, the last like 4 or 5 albums.
Yeah.
Those are some go-tos. I listen to like the Midnight when I want something more like, I love like 80s synthwave style stuff too. So I love the Midnight, especially the Nocturnal album. That one's like head and shoulders above the rest for me. Yeah, Tool is always a favorite standby of mine. Rush. Let's see, that's the majority of them. But Devin Townsend, I always forget Devin, and he's on my high up there list of listens. But yeah, Pain of Salvation lately, again, they've been a favorite of mine forever. So yeah, kind of the proggy, like the more artsy rock stuff. And then there's always my throwbacks, Old Opeth, Meshuggah, you know, like kind of the heavier stuff. Even Children of Bodom still randomly I love. So kind of across that board of thrash metal and like prog metal, and then kind of like that 80s thrown in for fun.
I guess I did have a question.
Yeah.
Within the United States, do you have a certain venue that you really, really love to play at?
Well, there's a few on the list I wanted to play this year, like Forum in LA, Red Rocks, which I've never played, the Excel Center here in Minnesota, which is my hockey team's arena, which is, I'm such a hockey guy. I love playing the hockey arenas.
Go Bruins.
Yeah. So for me, well, Wembley was really fun, just because that was cool, like the Wembley O2 Arena or whatever.
Sure.
That was amazing. A lot of the European ones are amazing because the architecture in it is so cool and unique. So there was a couple in Germany, I remember, that were just awesome. In the U.S., it's more like the area of the country. I love like Arizona. I don't know why, but I do. I've always had so much fun playing shows there, whatever the venue. And then I'm just like a big mountain guy, so I like Montana. We played Bozeman, had a blast there. Not that the arena was cool, but yeah, for me it's generally like the area around the arena that kind of dictates how cool the arena is.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
What is there any artists you wish you could jam with?
Tool. I would like to take over the drum throne for a tour. If Danny ever gets bored, hit me up. Yeah, what else? Honestly, yeah.
Any
Some
specific,
80s stuff would be awesome. What's that?
Any specific person or anything like that?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, Michael Romeo from Symphony X would be a fun one because I think all his riffs and solos are so sick.
Yeah.
Devin Townsend would be an idol of mine, which my good drum buddy played on his last album, so I was like, you bastard. And then, not really, it was awesome that he played on it. And yeah, like Alex Lifeson or Getty now, you know, like it'd be fun to jam with one of those guys, or like a Les Claypool would be fun, or somebody that's like an enigmatic, like super odd, creative voice would be cool just to feel them out, you know, even if like the music didn't make any sense.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So have you guys started writing? I mean, you sort of talked about this. Have you started writing or recording anything for the next?
Definitely not intentionally. I don't know what those guys are up to. They're probably writing or doing whatever randomly, but not intentionally. No, I think we're gonna let this thing blow over because we came out the record and we didn't even get to tour it. So
yeah, my
guess is we ride it. But you never know what'll come out too. You know, like I'm sure. I think it'd be fun to do like a couple singles just for giggles, especially if this continues on longer than we anticipate, which hopefully by next year at this time we're playing. Because, I mean, we scheduled a show next September. I would imagine things will get back on track by then, so let's just hope for it.
Yeah.
But if not, I would say doing a couple singles would be cool, you know?
Yep. I was talking with Hook, what was it, a couple weeks ago, whatever, about some photography stuff. And,
Oh, yeah, cool.
And he got me earlier in the year because of some of my photos. So him and I are working on some photo stuff for.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Or something for him. And early in the year, he gave me access because you guys were going to be doing the show here in Mass.
Oh, yeah.
It was supposed to be in May with Papa Roach and I Prevail.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I am so psyched because you gave me access for that one because I love Papa Roach and I'm just now getting I Prevail. So I'm like, dude, this is going to be a crazy tour. And then it obviously got delayed till November. So I'm like, that's all right. At least it's still there.
Right.
Unfortunately, it got
And
cut.
then-
I'm like so bummed. I was
Me
so
too.
looking forward to that show.
Yeah, I've never been as bummed and felt like a kid again as I was when this one got canceled. It was like this, this expectation just gone out of my hands. It's like, I can't do anything about it. I wanted to play so bad.
And you guys are so hot right now. Too.
I know.
The band is insane.
There's that too, where it's like, we came out of that last one feeling so good. And now it's like, could I even play the set off the top of my head? You know, like I have these dreams that I forget the set and I have to go play a show. And then I wake up and I'm like, no, I could do it.
Yeah.
So
come back. Yeah.
I've been playing it again, so I'm fine. I could get up and play it tomorrow. But I'm learning all the new tunes though, like for playthroughs. I'm going to do drum playthroughs of them. So I've been focused on that now that I know I got the time. So I'll do full out playthroughs of every tune here. Slowly but surely, I'll just release them as I do them. At first, I was going to do the record start to finish, and now I might jump around because I don't know if I care. So I ordered a new drum for my house kit so I can have 2 rack toms, because one rack tom was just feeling odd for the Death Punch tunes, and so I'm going to wait for that to get here and kind of reset up the kit, and then I'll do a bunch of playthrough videos.
And you have a full recording setup, right? So you can record pretty much, studio quality, right?
Yeah, it's good quality. I mean, I could put more energy into the sound, but it sounds great for what I want it for.
Yeah.
And I will do more with when I do the full playthroughs because of the stems, and like there'll be no drums, so there's that. So I can at least just put the drum levels higher just for the drum playthrough aspect. I'll drop like the vocals a bit, and I'll just balance it the way a musician would want to watch a drummer play the tune. And it should sound good enough, but I have people I can bug if I'm like, okay, this isn't going to cut it. I'll just send it to somebody else and make them do it for me and trade them with some free drum tracks or something stupid just so I can get it done a little bit better, because I know what I'm doing, but I know what I'm doing within my own setup. You know what I mean? And when you start to layer a bunch of sounds on top of each other, you hear things and you're like, I don't want that there, and I'm not going to turn 3,000 knobs to figure it out.
Yep.
But yeah, I have a good little home setup.
Nice.
Charlie, within the music industry, what would you say would the best advice you've gotten from another musician?
Oh, that's a good question. I think a lot of my best advice is mental and like kind of metaphysical based stuff, where it's like approaches and like, how serious to take things or when to ignore things or when to take it seriously or what. So I don't know if there's like one thing that I could say that would be like, this one time somebody said this that changed me. I'm sure I have a handful of them.
Sure.
But generally it's more like when to care and when not to care has always been a good advice sort of style that I've gotten, where it's like, yeah, you're right, I was getting all huffy puffy in my head about that, when in reality I was just being emotional and being biased on my approach to it, or I was pissed off that day or something. So yeah, I feel like most of the good advice I get is like heady stuff of like when to take things seriously and when to know that it's just part of the job.
All right, cool.
Now, have you had to deal with any really crazy fans?
I don't think so. I don't know. I think I do have like a pretty good tolerance of like annoying ones, where they definitely cross the line with like, you be nice and respond to somebody, and then they just write you 1,000 questions, or like they put you in it's actually, I'll summarize it better than that and generalize it. It's when I hate it when I get a message for something, which I'm totally down to do, or like, you know, it'd be like a birthday greeting or something, like nothing to be, you know, just like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. But then they put you in a position certain times with other things that are like a next step up, and you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Cause it's like, I can't do that for you, but now I have to tell you no, and you're going to think that I'm just not doing it because like really what it is certain fans think that you're like this omnipresent being within your band of like, can you get the guys to do this? And you're like, no. Not only can I not get them to do anything, I'm definitely not going to bombard them more than they're getting bombarded already. So that kind of stuff can get old, but I don't really have to deal with that too much. I can honestly say in the last few years, there's maybe 10 times where I'm like uncomfortably annoyed, where I'm just like, God, why'd you even have to ask that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all in all, pretty much a lot of respect across the board, which is nice.
It's just that one guy on Instagram that keeps asking you to come on his photograph show, right?
Yeah, no, that stuff doesn't bug. That stuff's different because that's I keep those tight to the chest anyway, so that when I do them, it's fun for me too, because I can like see where I'm at, you know, like what I've been talking about or not, you know. And so I don't mind any of that type of stuff because that's a lot different. That's me. Anything to do with me, I don't care if I get a message about it because I'll just say no. It's when it's like the involved from angles of like, hey, your 7 other managers and band members didn't respond. I'm hoping you will, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. You know, the weird thing is, you know, we're just photographers for a venue and we post photos of you guys. And I get emails from fans saying, can you have him do this for me? I'm like, I don't know him. I just posted a photo I took of him.
Oh, I've heard that from a lot of people. Yeah, people are willing to go through some hoops to try and get in touch with something goofy. It's funny, but you know, I feel like Death Punch in particular, we're really good with being talkative with our fans and like responding, and like we keep up for the most part individually, you know, and we have always, I feel like since I've joined, have been that way, you know, or we try to be pretty open communication. There's not a lot of like, you know where to find us, you know, on Instagram, you'll see where we're at and you can send that message. Whether we will respond or not will depend on how cool you are about it. But you know, I respond to pretty much everybody.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, it's a mix. You know, it's going to be, you know, I'll say from a 5-finger perspective, from a fan perspective, there are a lot of people that are going through so much stuff and can relate to the lyrics, to the feeling that you guys bring and all that stuff. So there's a lot of people in a lot of different levels in their life of, you know, they need help or they're just you know, need inspiration or they're inspired by you, whatever it is.
Yep.
So it's a wide mix of types of people out there. So
it is.
Everyone is passionate about their music. Absolutely. Yeah. So
our diehard fans are awesome. I mean, couldn't ask for a better group of fans. They cover, like, they check all the boxes of like what you would want out of your fan base in terms of like, respect, honestly. Like I said, I barely dealt with any in the last 2 years of any ones where I was like, dude, why'd you even ask that? That's very few and far between. Everybody's always like, hey, I don't want to bug you. I know you're really busy. And it's like, actually, I'm not touring for like a year, so I got some time. But no, everybody's always like forward. What's that? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I say COVID has been very beneficial for us because a lot of people are just kind of bored and looking to kind of just do something. So
yeah, there's that, right? I'm in the same boat. I feel like in the beginning it took away a lot of my enthusiasm, and now it's starting to come back in like a full force, where it was almost like my brain sat back over these last like 6 months or whatever the hell it's been, and like it chewed up what was going on and how I felt about this, that, or the other thing, because we all have our strong opinions on everything. And then like didn't know how to angle it, so I didn't even want to try to direct that energy towards a project or an idea or one video or 3 videos or whatever. And now I feel like though that's starting to kind of like take form on itself, where I feel like I can come up with some cool stuff both like individually and then outlet it through Death Punch too, which is obviously the best outlet I have in terms of live show experience. It doesn't get any better. So I'm looking forward to letting it out, because I can feel the pot starting to like boil and kind of the top shaking. So I'm excited for it too.
Are you guys thinking about doing any of the drive-in type stuff at all?
I think we're trying to come up with cool ideas to not just do the cliche everyday version of it, of like, hey, here's us live streaming, see you later. And we're trying to come up with something cool. So I'm hoping we do that. You know what I mean? I've heard a few ideas thrown around that I thought were awesome. And we'll see if something comes to fruition here in the next, at this point, maybe 5-6 months or something.
Yeah, right.
Because I know that in Death Punch fashion, it won't be done small if we do anything like that. So I'm excited and hoping we do, because I could sure use that outlet no matter what it ends up being. I don't care or no. So
yeah, I've shot a couple in the last few weeks. They're doing it in New Hampshire, and it's actually working out pretty good. About 500 cars, but they're spreading them out, and people are enjoying it.
I've heard. I heard like Connecticut was doing stuff. Some comedies moving around down or over there. So from all I've gathered, it seems to be pretty cool doing some of those like drive-in style things and like the whole limited crowd stuff, I guess.
Yeah, the fans are starving for it, so they're going to go out for everything. So
that's for sure. I think fans across all genres and all platforms are ready for some. It's funny because it is a good slap in the face to remember that all this internet stuff is fun and it's cool. Like for me posting a drum video, but it will never suffice on the level that a live thing will. And so maybe things won't be taken for, as granted or whatever. I've fumbled the words, but you know what I mean? People won't take it for granted that like going to a live show is a much deeper experience. And I feel like when this all does get back to normal with the live show stuff, that it's going to be fun tours for everybody. I think people are going to be out ready to go,
There's going to be so much energy.
Exactly. The energy levels will be palatable. That's for sure. It's like,
no doubt,
palpable. Yeah, it already is. Like without there being shows, I just can there's like an energy going through the digital airwaves even where it's like, oh shit. You just hope it gets directed properly, because it's also crazy in other ways.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Absolutely. All right. So any other questions from anybody?
I'm good.
I mean, I have a million to ask, but we're kind of getting into the weeds on some of these. I don't want to take up your time. Anything specific, Charlie, that you want to talk about before we call it a night?
No, I don't think so. I hope everybody out there that's listening is doing well. And like, even though I know I've been quiet, stay following me and watch my videos and stuff, because I'll have some fun Death Punch ones. I'll have some fun, just goofy, artsy, dorky ones. I'll be throwing out some stuff now and doing a lot more like live streams and getting out there more. I've been pretty quiet the last 6 months intentionally. So yeah, nothing much. Everybody keep their head on straight and have some fun and try to lighten up a little bit maybe in certain ways. And we'll get back to the shows and the fun here soon enough. I feel it on the horizon. I really do.
Good
but
advice.
yeah, it's been fun talking to you boys, and looking forward to getting out to your venue too. I loved it out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, thanks for watching our episode with Charlie Engen of Five Finger Death Punch. You can check out more episodes on our YouTube channel or on talesfromthepit.net. We'll see you next time.